Hi, I'm gonna make a video specifically about my song Fantasy, which is out now. I wrote a little excerpt about Fantasy a few days ago, and I want to read it because I feel like it really encapsulates the vibe of the song. Okay, I'm gonna start reading this. Fantasy is about oscillating between feelings of thinking your life is over and knowing that you can always try again. Although I encourage delusion, I personally worry that I've practiced it without a plan. So, what I mean by that is when I was first starting out, trying to do this whole music thing, I had a lot of ambition, but it wasn't partnered with discipline. And I think that those things together can be a very dangerous combination. Like, you want to be something or do something so bad, but you have no idea how to get there and no plan in place or the patience to be able to understand that each day adds up to something at the end of it, you know? I was so restless. I could barely sit down for longer than like 10 minutes at a time. It felt like I was perpetually running from something, you know what I mean? Running from those feelings, running from the past, running from my upbringing, etc., etc. You could go on all day, but it made it very difficult for me to do just about anything. I don't know about you, but I don't want to spend a single second more than I already have being upset that I'm not in the place that I wish that I was. And you know what I mean? I feel like it is a complete misuse of this life that I have been given. I also think that it can paralyze you to a point of inaction if you spend too much time feeling sorry for yourself that you're not where you want to be yet, you know what I mean? To a point where it can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that's something that I've been thinking about for myself recently. Like, how much time did I spend when I was younger just comparing myself to others, wondering why it hadn't happened to me yet, when I could have just been in the studio. I'm sorry. I have made some of the best music, my favorite music, just in my head for free. I think that technology, social media specifically, can be a pacifier, an accidental pacifier for a lot of artists. Like, yes, it can be a tool for sure, but depending on where you're at in your journey, it can be bad. Like, it can distract you from doing what it is that you need to do, which for me, I needed to practice singing, and I needed to make better lyrics and song structures, and you know, I do all of those things now, but it took me getting torn, and I mean torn, out of my comfort zone. I moved halfway across the country, and now I am finally doing the things that I needed to do, but it took a lot, and I feel like I was this close. I was this close to just like, I just being lost forever. I interjected enough. I'm gonna get back to reading this paragraph, but I'm sure you'll hear from me again. So, this is what I wrote after. A lot of my life has revolved around internalized shame. I get down on myself for not being where I want to be in life, although recently I've tried to be more present and enjoy the process. So yeah, we were just talking about that. It is a theme. It is a theme for sure. I think it would be really bad if you were pursuing something for a long time, and let's say you got that thing, right? Whatever that was, whatever career milestone it is that you're looking for, and you look back and realize that you just suffered. how many years before that, because you just wanted it so bad. Like, imagine that being your life. I don't want that to be my life, and I'm afraid that I am, even now, right? I'm still doing that to a degree, but I'm at least trying to channel it into my music instead of just like being self-destructive, which again, that's what I was doing previously, because I didn't have the same, I guess, like coping mechanism or skills that I do now to be able to transmute the pure, raw insanity that flows from within me into something that, I don't know, got it out for a little bit, at least a little. The days that you spend getting to where you want to be in life are 1,000,000 times more important than that thing, because like the day you get that thing is one day, you know. They say the journey, not the destination, right? The age-old saying. Well, that's true, okay? And we all need to slam that into our brains a little bit harder, because if you're not enjoying the process, then quit yesterday. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The process is what being a musician is. And for me, that's recording. Like, I really enjoy recording. That is not something I could say even like a year ago. I used to hate recording, and again, it's because I was so restless. I couldn't sit down for longer than 10 minutes at a time. I should have been on something. I should have been on SSRIs. I don't know. I genuinely was just wandering around. I am so lucky that nothing worse happened to me when I was younger. But I did fuck my life up a little bit for sure. Like, I was traumatized, and that's the other thing. I try not to be like super hard on myself, and more so just talk about the past in like a neutral way, because the reality is I had a plethora of undiagnosed and untreated mental illnesses. I had CPTSD, OCD, generalized anxiety, and depression, and who knows what else. I didn't have the most nurturing support system in my adolescence, and it wasn't until I got older that I found people who I wasn't related to that kind of came in and were there for me. And I am so thankful for everyone, and you know who you are, because I have no clue where I would be right now if it weren't for you guys. I try my best to be understanding of my younger self, but the more I grow as a person, the more I'll remember certain things, or the way I used to think back then, and how impatient I was, and how truly desperate I was. Like, I wanted it so bad to a point where I was never going to be an artist back then. Like, I remember I didn't even consider myself to be an artist because I talked down on myself. I was so critical of myself. But again, me looking back on that version of me and being critical now, it feels like it's almost perpetuating the cycle. So that's why I'm just trying to move on. And I think that this whole Astrid project, like I said in that open letter or whatever, is my attempt to make my own meaning of everything. Fantasy is me deciding to make pop music again. I'm going off script. Actually, let me read the last little bit of this before I start on that. This song was one of those, I don't know how we did this, but it's here moments. It's not perfect, but it's fun, and that's what matters to me these days. Couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it better past me. But yeah, I started making pop music again. Last Ditch Effort is a pop album. You know, when I first started releasing recorded music, a lot of it was indie pop, and it's funny because it took me years and years just to go back to making things that sounded like what I was making when I was 18. So, it's funny how things work that way. It was like a journey of sorts. If you believe in astrology, I have been planning these new releases around astrological events just to see what happens. I was someone who didn't believe in it for a long time, but I saw my birth chart and it put everything into place. My birth chart is a mess. It is a mess, but it's a beautiful mess. Just like Last Ditch Effort, my album, a beautiful mess. Fantasy, it's a beautiful mess. When my OCD was untreated and undiagnosed, I would hear my singing and my own music and obsess and check. I would like listen to my voice and I would think that something was off, or I would think that I was sending like subliminal messages, which sounds very schizo-coded as well, but it's just the truth. Or I would be afraid that I was singing something that accidentally sounded bad, and I would be like, we have to go back and record it. And I feel so bad because, like, no one really knew what was going on. I mean, I also didn't know what was going on until I found out about OCD and, like, being a perfectionist or whatever. I mean, it goes way beyond that, but I just don't know how else to explain it. I used to be so obsessed with getting my vocals to be just right. They had to be just right, to a point where they sounded horrible and unnatural, like, at least to me, in comparison to how the singing is now. And to be honest, I started using auto-tune, so it made everything easier. Thank God for auto-tune. Yeah, auto-tune. I should have started using that earlier, but for some reason I was like, no, I can do it, guys. It's okay. I was individually punching syllables for certain songs. Like, that's how bad it was. It was like nails on a chalkboard. Like, I cannot listen to any of the over and over Jackie Hay stuff for that reason, because that's when I was doing it, like, really, really bad. Over and Over was still, like, to a degree. I personally view that album as one of my biggest failures, if not the biggest failure, but again, maybe that's a video for another day. Respect to everyone who worked on it. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about me and my feelings and how I feel like I handled that album. Just want to set the record straight for the 300 people who are going to watch this. It's okay for your vocals to not be 101% perfect. To anyone out there who is just starting out, and if it really means that much, just practice singing for like 2 hours a day, every day, if you can. That's probably impractical for most people. Just do a Jacobs Vocal Academy video. They're like 10 minutes long. Like I said in the paragraph, I don't remember exactly where I was when I wrote Fantasy, except for the first like few lines. I said, want to quit my job, cancel all my plans, crying to my friends about how I thought things would be different. I sound like a genius video, but that was at work. I might complain about working a lot, but my job is one of the only things that tethers me to reality because it enables me to still do music. Like, if I quit my job, I would not be able to continue doing music right now because I don't make enough. Like, I've made a few $100s from Astrid Pierce so far, and it's been split like 4 ways. So yeah, I don't know. It's okay. I really like the people that I work with too. I like the people that I work with, and I've opened up about the fact that I do music with my coworkers, and everyone's been really nice and supportive, and that's great too. Fantasy is a pop song that is on an album called Last Ditch Effort that comes out this summer, and it was such a fun song to make, and I listened back and I'm like, whoa, like, we did that. It's great. It was one of the easiest songs that I've ever made. It just kind of came out. There are still things that I wish I did a little differently with Fantasy, but I've been able to make peace with the situation because I had so much fun making it, and it's not about being perfect, you know, it's about getting the feeling across, and I hope that I did that. I wish you could see what my cat is doing right now. But so God help me, I will fight for my younger self and try to give her the future that she desperately dreamed of but didn't know how to achieve. I think that I've gotten close, at least. And if you know, they say shoot for the moon, land amongst the stars. You know, I might be in the stars right now. At least that's what it feels like. If you listen to the song, please let me know what you think, and thank you for, you know, watching this video and listening to me rant and ramble for how long this thing goes for, and until next time.